Right then, this is a walk around video for a wonderful car. This is the first that we've had of this new shape. This is a 1.5 EX CRV manual, finished in black with a full black leather interior. It's got the optional Honda roof bars fitted as well, which is lovely. 48,000 miles and a full Honda history. What a really handsome looking car this is. Absolutely packed with equipment. I'm not going to go through all of it. Hopefully you'll know what is on the car, and it's in lovely condition. The front of the car, really smart looking, narrow lights on there. Look absolutely fantastic on the car. Really clean. Lights and lenses are clear and intact. Bonnet really clean. I think you'll probably find one or two microscopic stone chips on there, but nothing to write home about. Near side, sorry, it's a bit windy. It's lovely and clean in the panel work. Near side front alloy, absolutely beautiful. No marks or damage on there. Panel work down the side, absolutely fantastically clean. This rear alloy again, very, very clean indeed. Then come around the back. It's got a really nice presence to these cars. It's got an understated, which I really like. I want to do that ever so well. And then around the back, the offside, driver side of the car, again, really, really smooth in the panels. Offside rear alloy again, absolutely unmarked. And then final alloy on the front there, again. Full set of Pirelli tyres on the car, which is a lovely sign of ownership as well. But it really is in lovely condition with only the lightest marks, which I try and pick up on what I can. It's coming to the back of the car. As you can see, electric tailgates, all working as it should. Huge, huge boot, and all kept very, very nicely. It's coming to the back of the car. Lovely wide opening rear doors. It's always been a strength of the Hondas, the amount of rear space you get. This one's no different. It's absolutely cavernous. Leatherwork, much higher grade leather than the previous generation. Looks absolutely fantastic. And it's heated on these EX models as well in the back. From the front and the passenger side, door cards again all lovely and clean. And passenger seat, hardly used at all in all honesty. Finally come to the driver's door card, again pretty much unmarked there as well. Footwell area is lovely and clean. Driver's seat, electrically adjustable with memory settings, again absolutely superb condition. So inside the car now, engine's running as I always do, so the dash can be seen illuminated. And what a wonderful interior, looks absolutely stunning. As you see there, sat nav working exactly as it should. If you pop the car into reverse, a lovely clear gridded parking camera. All working exactly as it should. It is a lovely interior. It's been kept very, very nicely. Come up to the dash binnacle. Hopefully you can see 48,493 miles. There are no warning lights on the dash at all. And up there you've got your heads-up display as well, which is a brilliant feature on modern cars, I have to say. But it is a really lovely car, this one. Finally, just to show you, owner's manual, pack and lock and wheel nut key, all here and present with the car. Right then, this is a quick road test video and a little bit of a momentous moment for us, because this, as I think I might mention in the walk around video, is the first of these new shaped CRVs we've ever had, and it's quite exciting. Might not sound like it to some people, but to me, we've sold every generation of CRV over the years, and obviously we always get to this time when a new generation comes along and we get to start selling them, and this one is, let's say, the first of them for us, so it is very exciting for us. This is a 1.5 EX petrol manual, registered RJ19VDO, and with a mileage of 48,485 miles recorded. The reason we do the videos, apart from self-indulgence, is basically to ensure that if anyone is online looking at any of our cars advertised, they actually get to see the advertised car in operation. The reason we feel it's important is very simple. It's because we, like so many people, have been to go and see cars which have looked absolutely fine in photographs and descriptions, but only to get there and find out there's a fundamental issue with the car which we'd much rather known about before setting off. So hence that's why we do it. So coming to the car, I will probably do a separate video on my thoughts on the car, but that's a separate issue. That is purely for personal indulgence, really. This is more about how the car drives. Are there any issues or that kind of thing? So to go through them, and I will embellish as I'm going along quite clearly. Engine push button starts instantly and settles to an absolutely smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car. The temperature gauge is running at a third, which is exactly where it's meant to be on all Honda cars, even these new ones. I do have experience of these engines in the Civics, actually, so I know that they're very, very good engines. It's got plenty of power. It's very smooth and quiet in operation, I have to say. Certainly was in the Civic, but I'll be able to feedback more. But there's no warning lights at all. All the things that you hope for in a car are good, but it's a very tractable engine. It picks up very smoothly from low revs, pulls with vigour on the turbo, but unlike some turbo engines, which once the turbo stopped supplying the energy for it, they can sort of tail off. But this one, typical Honda, will keep revving hard all the way through, should you need it to, but you rarely, if ever, have to, because it is so flexible indeed. It's noticeable that I can use higher gears here than in the previous 2-litre petrol and versions, where I might be in lower gear in anticipation because you have to work those engines harder. This is much more powerful than those, with a lot more torque. It's the most powerful engine put in a CRV ever, so it is a potent thing indeed for this type of car. But it's a lovely unit. Engine feeds through into the clutch and gearbox. Clutch on the car absolutely perfect, nice and smooth in operation. Very well judged as well. It's very easy to kind of modulate the clutch pedal on the car. It's always a fear of mine when I get in a new car that suddenly they've done something and gone backwards, and they haven't at all, and it's quite the opposite. It just feels so oily precise in everything you do in the car. And the same goes to the gearbox, which has always been one of Honda's strengths. They do brilliant gear changes. Same position for the gear levers. Previously it feels nice and high up on the dash, so your hand falls very naturally to it. But the gear selection quality is as you'd expect of any Honda car. Absolutely fantastic. Short in throw, lovely and precise in action. I really shouldn't have pulled out behind this chap because it's going to be quite slow, but never mind, we'll do what we have to do. But yeah, the gear change is just really nicely done. You're in a Honda's about engineering, they always have been, and they do these things really well. Can seem quite unimportant, but when you're driving the car day in, day out, it's amazing how a car which can feel good on a test drive can, after a few months of ownership, really great when you've got sort of sloppy gear linkage, sort of notchy engagement, and that's absolutely brilliant, and it feels as tight as it would have done when it was new. Steering on the car, first and foremost, track's absolutely dead straight. There's no vibrations at this speed, and I'll check out the higher speeds in a second as well. But like the Civics, very nice power steering on the car. What I like about it is very nicely weighted, so it makes the car feel very solid and secure on the road, much as again the previous generation did. And as with those, the whole feeling incredibly car-like. Tiny movements of the wheel get the car moving straight away. There's no kind of slack or it doesn't feel slovenly like some of its competitors can do. One thing you notice straight away when you get in the car, and it's absolutely immediate, it's probably the biggest leap, because it's almost a lie, not intentionally. I do remember I did drive one of these for about 300 yards once up our road, and I wasn't quite sure whether I remembered it right, but I remember the ride being noticeably smoother, even in that short drive up. Thought maybe it was just in my head. No, it's not. It's absolutely wonderfully comfortable and compliant. I have to say they've done a brilliant job on it. There are of course no clonks or rattles coming from underneath the car at all. It feels absolutely like new to drive. It's so tight in every single way, but that's typical Honda. They do this brilliantly well. He really wants to go in every single direction I'm going in at the moment. I might be able to zip past him in a second, because I want to go. This section of road is horrible. It's got a really clunky road surface, so I'm just going to see how it compares, because it does tend to catch lots of cars out this road surface. He's a bit too wide to go by. Wow, that's amazing. They've done a brilliant job on it. Really, really amazing. Yeah, this road surface is horrible. It really is, and that ride's absolutely miles better than anything previously that I've driven up here. Going to give the brakes a bit of a shove, make sure no one's directly behind me. Give them a good old shove. Yeah, good powerful brake pedal on the car. What I'm looking for is that initial bite should be, as it is, positive, powerful, but there shouldn't be any kind of vibrations or pulsing coming back through the brake pedal at all, and there are none at all, so absolutely spot on. So finally, to come inside the car, again, because this is all new to me in lots of ways, apart from briefly sitting in one in the dealership, it's the first time actually sitting in, operating the car, and the things you tend to look for, and I've got a direct comparison with the last generation, having sort of driven one literally hours ago. Driving position, as with all Hondas, brilliant, straight ahead, just everything feels very natural straight away. Seats are really nice in the car. You feel more sat in the car possibly than the last generation, but that's not a bad thing. Still got this lovely elevated view, but this feels slightly more intimate, but the seats are really supportive, I have to say. As with all Hondas, the build quality is astonishing. Beautifully built, no squeaks, no rattles, not even a hint, and also nicely laid out. It's just a lovely interior. The sat-nav screen sits there really nicely. I know people go on about infotainment and they're pet hates. That's only part of the car, and it actually works perfectly fine for me, because again, a lot of the stuff looks identical to the last generation. It's just the way they've set it out there. But to me, my priority is, the build quality, the reliability, the mechanical side has always been, what a car's all about, first and foremost. This is almost secondary, but it works actually very well, looks very nice. As I say, beautifully assembled. Climate control system, which also gives you different temperatures side to side, is really nice to use, as is always the case. You've got a little button then, shortcut button to go into climate, so I can do things on there as well. It's just very, very nicely done, I have to say. Wow, again, pumps out lovely cold air, by the way, as well. So, and every button, everything you press is that wonderful actuation that you get with Honda. They do really lovely quality of minor controls as well. They're very, very tastefully and nicely done. Dashboard binnacle in front, again, actually very, very similar. So that's just the fuel light come on. Very similar to the Civics, actually, in the way it's laid out, and the newer ones, which is easy, it's legible. It'll take me some time to get used to it. It's I find modern dashes slightly more complicated than they need to be, and this one's probably no different. There's more information going on, but the speed I can see relatively clearly. You've got a horizontal rev counter, so it's all kind of new, as it would be to lots of people, but it's very smart, it's very modern, it all works very well indeed. Everything does, it all works absolutely beautifully in the car. Obviously it's a very, very highly equipped car, I have to say. There's all sorts of little functions. I've just pressed a button for a function I didn't know it had, which is a heated steering wheel, which feels lovely and toasty in hand. I've got the little button there. I can pop up my heads-up display as well, so this little screen comes up again, so it looks fantastic. I can see my speed up higher. That's better, because rather than looking down into the bowels of the car, and that works very well, I have to say. Very, very nicely done. It's a wonderful car. I knew I'd like it. I have to be honest with you. I knew I'd like it, but I was prepared to be disappointed, because sometimes manufacturers get things wrong. Honda have in the past, but this is a quantum leap in lots of ways. better than the last generation, which was in its own way one of the finest cars in its class, and certainly in terms of reliability, better than virtually anything. But this dynamically, and the most noticeable thing straight away is that feeling of sort of almost a hefty build quality, and the compliance of the ride is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And there's no issues with the car at all. It drives absolutely perfectly. So I apologise for it's slightly waffly video, this one, because I'm trying to take it all on board as I'm driving along. But the most important things for you from distance is to know that all the bits that should be working are working exactly as they should.